Aloha, beautiful souls. How are y'all doing today? I hope you've had an incredible and amazing week on this incredible journey we call life, right? And speaking of life, I wanted to talk a little bit about our humanness, the core of what makes us human, the core of what makes us us, right? And I got to thinking about this because a few friends of mine started talking about deeper values, right? The deeper values in life that make us joyful, happy, ecstatic, at peace, and feel fulfilled. And it was interesting hearing them go back and forth about the different things that they thought would help us feel those emotions and that abundance in our life. And I realized I have a very different viewpoint. And they were talking about wealth as far as money and having friends that do the same things as you and have similar mindsets as you, and things of that nature, things that I hear from a lot of people, that you have people in your life with similar interests, that you have a decent paying job, a decent paying roof over your head, and you have the basics in life, and you can go do the activities that you love with the people who share those interests with you, right? And I honestly think that deep down, that is not the core. I think that that's the second layer, actually. Because when you look at, and I've had a few profound experiences in my life that have really changed my belief system around joy and happiness and abundance and wealth, right? And one of those experiences was with a 12-year-old boy who had Down syndrome, amongst other health issues. And I want to say I was 15. No, I think I was 14 and a half when I met him. And I knew him for a few years. And I loved this boy. And this boy loved me. And we'd go on walks with his family and etc. And this boy was always happy. This boy was kind. There's no way he could hold down a job. There's no way he would ever be able to afford his own place. There's no way that he could make a ton of friends who may or may not have all the same interests as him. And yet this boy was ecstatic about life. Joyful in the way that all of us wish we could be. And it changed my perception of everything, right? Because we're taught from a young age that in order to have that ecstasy of life, we have to have material possessions and friends that fit this particular mold, the same mold as us. And yet this boy had none of that and was the picture of happiness. And fast forward about 3 years, and I had the chance to work with another group this time of, I want to say they were between 16 and 24, but they were a group of young adults with Down syndrome. And again, they had to have their housing provided for. It was a group home for Down syndrome, so each of them had their own room. None of them really had the same interests. I think there was 2 boys in there that maybe liked action figures, and that was the majority of their commonalities. And they all liked playing games. That was it. As far as what they had in common, they really didn't have much in common with each other than their conditions. And again, they were ecstatic about life. Absolutely thrilled to be alive every day. And sure, they had their moments, just like all of us. But 90% of the time, I saw these people ecstatic about life. Fast forward, well, I should say there's 2 points as well where I worked with autistic children in my life. And it was a very similar experience. These people are labeled and put in boxes and told that they're not worthy, or they're this, not this, that, or the other thing. Yet, when you get down on their level, they're quite ecstatic about their existence. So, that made me question, what is the core of being happy in life? Because it's certainly not what we're taught, right? It's certainly not having people that do the same things as us. Well, sure, that can be enjoyable. It's certainly not having a high-paying job. It's certainly not having the perfect house or the perfect car. It's certainly not having a mate. So what is it? One of the commonalities of all of these people that I've seen and had the pleasure of knowing and working with was that, one, they truly appreciated their life. With all the challenges, with all the flaws, with all the hardships and grunge and whatnot that came with having Down syndrome, with having autism, they appreciated the little moments of life. Smelling the roses, having a pillow fight, and they didn't just stop there. When things got bad, they would deliberately find things to appreciate. Think about that for a second. You're in a very hard situation or a challenge, and it's like a dark cloud is hovering over you, right? It can be difficult to find the things that we appreciate if we are not practicing that appreciation already in our life. You know, I've known people who have major disabilities in wheelchairs or cancer or etc. And they have such an appreciation for life. And these are people that, for all intents and purposes, according to society's standard of happiness, should be miserable. Yet in my experience, it's the rest of us that are miserable. So appreciation. Appreciation is such a core of being happy in life, right? The monks I remember watching this YouTube video once on this monk, and he became a monk not realizing all of what was involved with that. And they didn't have a dishwasher, right? And so the monks would wash their dishes by hand, and they would take turns doing this chore. Got around him, and he was like, why do I have to wash these dishes? And finally he went to the head monks, and he was like, this is the 21st century. We have enough money, we have enough resources to go and buy ourselves a dishwasher. Why do we have to keep washing these by hand? And the head monks gave him a beautiful response. It's part of taking care of ourselves. It's part of our self-love. It's part of our self-meditation. If you can't do the little things in life that are normal every day with joy, you have missed the point of living. Let's say that again. If you can't do the little things in life that are normal every day with joy, you have missed the point of living. What a powerful thing. To celebrate those little moments. To dance while you're cooking. To have your family line up. One person wash the dishes, one person dry, one person whatever. Put them away. Your family is taking care of itself now. They are co-creating a clean house. You know, in the Waldorf way, there's, they don't call it schedules, they call it rhythms. They have rhythms to their life. I love that term so much better than scheduling, right? But what a beautiful thing to be able to go out and garden and dig a hole and do it with joy. And it's when we intentionally create joy around the little moments of life that we begin to experience these ecstasy of just being, right? Because let's face it, life is made up more of those little moments than of the big ones. And there is another portion of this that a lot of people don't think about. If your life is filled up with these little moments that you have intentionally created and found joyful, you're going to attract joy like a magnet, making those larger moments even more beautiful. It's a real thing. I just wanted to share that, and I hope that helps you live your most beautiful, joyful life, full of little moments of ecstasy. Aloha.